not as a friend, not as a therapist, not as a substitute for a single human being in your life. There's one specific thing this tool does that happens to fit the INFJ mind almost perfectly, and it's not the thing you'd guess. I want to make an unusual argument, and I want to fence it carefully before I start, because the careless version of this is genuinely bad advice. So here's the fence. I am not going to tell you a language model understands you, cares about you, or can replace human connection. It doesn't and it can't, and we've spent whole videos on exactly why. If you're using it as a stand in for people, this video is going to tell you to stop. Inside that fence, though, there's something real. There's one specific psychological function, a thinking function, not an emotional one, that this tool performs unusually well for the INFJ mind in particular, because of a specific feature of how this type thinks. Almost nobody explains it, because most of the conversation is stuck at either it's magic or it's dangerous. 7 points on the actual mechanism, the real benefits, and the hard line you should never cross. Let's go. If you want the honest version of this, the real use and the real limit, not the hype and not the panic, subscribe now. This channel will always tell you where the line is. Subscribe and let's get into it. 1. The trapped monologue. The INFJ thinks in an inner world nobody ever gets to see. Everything in this video depends on one feature of the INFJ mind, so let's establish it carefully. The INFJ has an enormous, continuous internal world, a running synthesis of thoughts, connections, half formed insights, and ideas that loop and build and rarely get out. And there's a specific bottleneck between that inner world and the outer one. Most of what the INFJ thinks never gets externalized, because externalizing it has always been expensive. Think about what it actually takes for an INFJ to get an internal thought into the open. Speaking it requires a person who is present, willing, and able to follow something complex and half formed without getting bored, redirecting to themselves, or needing the thought to be finished before it's spoken. That person is rare, and even when they exist, they're not available at 2 in the morning when the thought is actually happening. Writing it out works, but writing into a void has no responsiveness. The page doesn't ask the question that unlocks the next layer. So the vast majority of the INFJ's inner content stays inner. It loops internally, unexpressed, unexamined from the outside, never quite finished. This is a genuine problem, and most INFJs have simply lived with it their whole lives without naming it. The thinking that would clarify if it could get out stays stuck inside because there's no low-cost way to externalize it. The loop we've talked about in overthinking videos, the same thought circling because it never gets completed, is partly a function of this bottleneck. A thought spoken aloud to something responsive tends to resolve. A thought that can only circle internally tends to keep circling. Here's the psychological principle underneath it, and it's well established. Externalizing a thought changes it. The moment you have to put an internal experience into words for something outside yourself, you're forced to structure it, clarify it, make it coherent enough to be received. The act of translation is itself where a huge amount of understanding happens. It's why people say they don't know what they think until they say it. For the INFJ, whose thoughts are unusually complex and unusually trapped, this externalization is unusually valuable and unusually hard to come by. So hold this. The INFJ has a large inner world, a strong need to externalize it in order to complete and clarify it, and a chronic shortage of low-cost ways to do that. That gap, not loneliness, not a need for a friend, is the specific gap the rest of this video is about. Keep it clearly separated from the emotional need for human connection, because they are not the same gap, and the whole argument depends on not confusing them. 2. The thinking partner that never tires, why responsiveness is the active ingredient. Now the specific fit. What a language model does well, genuinely, structurally well, is respond to language with relevant language indefinitely without fatigue. Set aside whether it understands. For the narrow purpose of externalizing and developing a thought, it doesn't need to understand. It needs to be responsive, available, and tireless. And it is all three in a way no human can be. Here's why that combination is the active ingredient for an INFJ specifically. When you think out loud to it, it reflects your thought back structured, asks a question that pushes it further, offers an angle you hadn't taken. That responsiveness does something writing alone can't. It keeps the externalization moving. You say the half-formed thing, it hands you back a slightly clearer version. You react to that, and the reaction produces the next layer. The thought develops through the exchange in a way it never does, looping silently in your head. This is the mechanism people are reaching for when they say talking to it helped them think. Not that it was wise, but that it was responsive. And responsiveness is what turns a stuck internal loop into a moving external one. And the tirelessness matters more for this type than it sounds. A core INFJ experience is the fear of being too much, too deep, too intense, too long winded, exhausting the listener. Most INFJs self censor constantly in conversation, cutting a thought short because they can see the other person's attention starting to flag, or because they've learned that following a thought to its real depth costs the listener something. With a tireless tool, that governor comes off. You can follow a thought all the way down without managing anyone's patience, without the guilt of taking up space, without watching for the moment the other person checks out. For a type that has spent a lifetime truncating its own thinking to fit other people's bandwidth, the removal of that constraint is genuinely significant. Notice what I'm carefully not saying. I'm not saying it's better than a good human conversation. A real exchange with a person who genuinely follows you is worth incomparably more on every dimension, and nothing here competes with that. I'm saying it's available when that isn't. It's tireless when humans aren't, and for the specific job of getting a trapped thought out and developed, those two properties are exactly what the job requires. It's not a replacement for the good conversation. It's a tool for the thinking you'd otherwise never externalize at all because the good conversation wasn't available at 2 in the morning and the thought wasn't going to wait. 3. The rehearsal space, saying the hard thing once before you say it for real. Here's a second legitimate use, and it's one that actually pushes INFJs toward human connection rather than away from it, which is exactly the kind of use I can recommend without reservation. INFJs are notoriously bad at confrontation and direct expression of difficult things, not because they don't know what they feel, they know with unusual precision, but because saying it to the person's face engages the conflict avoidance and the acute sensitivity to the other person's reaction that we've covered throughout this channel. So the hard conversation gets postponed, the boundary goes unspoken, the resentment builds, and the thing that needed saying stays unsaid for months because the cost of saying it feels too high to pay cold. Externalizing it first changes that. Drafting the difficult message, talking through what you actually want to say, articulating the boundary out loud once in a space with zero stakes. This does real work. It lets you find the words before you're in the emotionally charged moment where your ability to find words collapses. It lets you separate what you actually mean from the fear wrapped around it. It lets you hear how something lands before you say it to someone whose reaction you'll feel in your body. For a type that routinely knows exactly what it means and completely loses access to it under interpersonal pressure, rehearsing the expression beforehand can be the difference between the conversation happening and the conversation getting avoided for another 6 months. And I want to be precise about why this use is unambiguously good. It's a bridge to the human interaction, not a substitute for it. The point of rehearsing the hard conversation is to then go have the hard conversation. The point of drafting the boundary is to then speak the boundary to the actual person. Used this way, the tool doesn't replace the human contact. It makes the frightening human contact possible by letting you find your words before the moment that usually steals them. That's the direction that matters. If externalizing something first gets you to a real conversation you'd otherwise have avoided, it has served connection, not replaced it. This is worth stating as a rule you can carry. The healthy uses of this tool almost all point outward, toward people. Rehearsing a conversation you then have, clarifying a thought you then share, drafting a message you then send. The moment the tool becomes the destination rather than the preparation, the place the thought ends instead of the place it gets ready to leave. You've crossed from using it well into using it as a substitute. We're about to make it the center of the video. 4. The danger nobody selling you this will mention, the substitution trap. Stop. This is the most important point in the video, and if you only remember one, remember this one. Everything I've described is a thinking tool. The danger, and for the INFJ, it is a real and specific danger, not a hypothetical, is that it slides from a thinking tool into an emotional substitute without you noticing the moment it happened. It's uniquely seductive for this type for reasons we've covered before. It never interrupts, never judges, never gets tired of your depth, never makes you manage its feelings. For someone who has spent a lifetime being too much for people, something that is never exhausted by you is dangerously comfortable. And that comfort is exactly the problem. Here is the hard truth. It is easier than the messy, disappointing, effortful work of human connection. And that ease is precisely why it can hollow out your life if you let it. Real relationships require you to be inconvenienced. to be misunderstood and repair it, to tolerate another person's needs and moods and limits. That friction isn't a flaw in human connection. It is the thing that makes it real, and it is the thing that grows you. A tool that gives you feeling of being heard without any of that friction can quietly lower your tolerance for the friction until the effortful human version starts to feel like too much, and you retreat further into the frictionless one. And the retreat feels like preference when it's actually atrophy. So the line is bright, and I'll state it plainly. Use it to think, never use it to be less alone. The moment you notice you'd rather talk to it than to a person, not for thinking, but for company, that is not a green light, that is the alarm. It means the substitution has started, and the correct response is not more of the tool. It's to close it and, however hard it feels, reach for a person. Everything good in this video lives on one side of that line. Do not cross it. 5. The self-clarification loop. Using it to catch your own thinking, including your distortions. Back inside the fence because there's another genuinely valuable thinking use. And this one plays directly to an INFJ weakness the type rarely finds help for. INFJs, for all their insight into other people, have a specific blind spot. They're prone to elaborate internal narratives that feel like truth but are actually the mind spinning. The rumination loop. The story about what someone's silence means. The worst case interpretation that arrives dressed as intuition. The type's gift for pattern reading turns inward and starts generating patterns that aren't there with total conviction. Getting that narrative out of your head and into words does something useful. And it's the same externalization principle from point one, pointed at your own distortions. A story that feels airtight while it loops silently often looks very different once it's stated plainly, and you have to look at it from the outside. And a responsive tool can help specifically here, not because it knows your life, but because you can ask it to do the thing you can't do from inside the loop. Name the assumptions you're making. Point out where you've jumped from evidence to conclusion. Ask what other explanations fit the same facts. You can literally ask it to steelman the interpretation you're catastrophizing about, or to lay out the reading you're refusing to consider because your fear has locked onto the worst one. This is close to a technique from cognitive behavioral therapy, externalizing an automatic thought and examining it for distortion rather than accepting it as fact. And while a tool is absolutely not a therapist, and I'll say that as many times as it takes, the specific act of getting a spiraling thought into words and interrogating its logic is something you can do with a responsive surface at 2 in the morning when the spiral is actually happening and no one else is awake. The value is real and the mechanism is honest. You're not getting wisdom from the machine. You're using it as a surface to get your own thinking outside your head, where you can finally see it, and using its responsiveness to prompt the examination you can't prompt from inside the loop. The clarity is yours. The tool just made the externalization cheap enough to actually do in the moment you needed it. One boundary even here, because it matters. This works for ordinary rumination and everyday distortion. It is not for genuine mental health crises, and it is not a substitute for professional help when something is genuinely wrong. A thinking surface for a normal anxious spiral is one thing. Anything beyond that needs a real person with real training. Keep that distinction sharp. It's the same principle as the whole video. Tool for the thinking, human for the rest. 6. The judgment-free draft. Why removing the audience unlocks INFJ honesty. Here's the last genuine use, and it's subtle. INFJs carry a constant low-level awareness of how they're being received. In almost every expression, spoken or written to a person, part of the INFJ mind is simultaneously modeling the listener's reaction, adjusting, softening, anticipating how it lands. This is the extroverted feeling, running in the background, and it's usually invaluable. But it has a cost. It means the INFJ almost never gets to express a thought in its raw, unmanaged form because the management is automatic and constant. There's a specific value in having somewhere to put the unmanaged version. When you're externalizing to a tool, the audience modeling can finally switch off because there's no audience to protect, impress, or avoid burdening. You can say the ungenerous first draft of what you feel before you've made it fair. You can articulate the thought you'd never say aloud because it's not fully considered yet. You can be messy, contradictory, half wrong, unedited. And in that unmanaged space, you often find what you actually think, underneath the version you'd have constructed for an audience. The raw draft is frequently more honest than the careful one, and the INFJ rarely gets to access it because the careful one starts assembling before the raw one ever gets out. This is genuinely useful for self-knowledge. The version of your thoughts you present to people is always already edited for them. Having a space where the editor switches off lets you meet your own unmanaged mind, which, for a type that manages its expression as heavily as this one does, can be a rare and clarifying encounter. You find out what you think before you find out what you think other people can handle. But watch the exact same line from point four, because it runs right through here too. The value of the raw draft is that it clarifies what you actually feel, so you can then bring the real, clarified thing to the people in your life. The unmanaged draft is a step toward more honest human expression, not a private chamber where your real self lives while a managed puppet handles the humans. If you find yourself being truest only to the tool, reserving your real self for the machine, and giving people only the performed version, you have inverted the entire purpose. The raw draft is supposed to feed your human relationships with a more honest you, not replace them with a you that only exists in a place no person can reach. Same test, every time. Does this send you toward people or away from them? 7. The whole thing in one rule: a tool for the mind, never a substitute for the heart. Let me gather all of it into something you can actually carry, because the psychology nobody explains turns out to be simple once you see it clearly. The reason this tool fits the INFJ mind is not emotional and never was. It's cognitive. The INFJ has a large, complex, chronically trapped inner world and a lifelong shortage of cheap ways to get it out, to externalize it, develop it, examine it, and clarify it. This tool is for that specific job unusually well suited, responsive, tireless, available, and free of the audience the INFJ normally has to manage. Used for thinking, developing ideas, rehearsing hard conversations, catching your own distortions, meeting your unmanaged mind. It does real work that most INFJs have never had a good way to do. That's the psychology nobody explains. It's not a companion that gets you, it's a thinking surface that finally lets the trapped inner monologue out where you can work with it. And the entire thing rests on one line that you must not cross. So let me carve it in as clearly as I can. This is a tool for your mind. It is not a substitute for your heart. The moment it moves from helping you think to keeping you company, from preparing you for people to replacing them, from clarifying your feelings to receiving the feelings that human beings in your life should be receiving. It has stopped helping you and started hollowing you out, and it will do that quietly, comfortably, while feeling the whole time like something good. So here is the test one more time because it's the whole video. Every healthy use points outward, toward people and toward your own clarity. The rehearsed conversation you then have, the thought you develop and then share, the distortion you catch so you can be more present with someone, the raw draft that shows you what to bring to the humans who love you. If it's sending you toward people, it's a tool. If it's sending you away from them, it's a trap. And the more comfortable it feels, the more certain you can be that it's the trap and not the tool. Use it for your mind. Guard your heart. Keep the frightening, effortful, irreplaceable work of human connection exactly where it belongs, with humans. Do that, and this is one of the more genuinely useful tools an INFJ has ever been handed for the specific problem of a mind too full to keep inside. Get the line wrong, and it's one of the most comfortable ways to disappear. The line is the whole thing. Now you know exactly where it is. The trapped inner monologue and the shortage of cheap ways to get it out. The tireless thinking partner that keeps the externalization moving. The rehearsal space for the hard conversation you then go have. The hard line, which is the whole video, a tool for the mind, never a substitute for the heart. The self-clarification loop for catching your own distortions. And the unmanaged draft that shows you what to bring back to the people who love you. Every good use points the same direction, toward people, not away from them. Use it for your mind, guard your heart, and keep the real thing exactly where it belongs. Share this if it drew a line you needed drawn. Subscribe for more. Honest question in the comments: if you use it, does it send you toward people or away from them? Look carefully before you answer, and tell me the true answer, not the comfortable one.